With the Menendez brothers back in the spotlight, let's take a look at the true reasons why the boys killed their parents. For starters, photos were found of the boys' unclothed bodies at 6 and 8 years old, which had their heads cropped out and focused on their privates. In one of the photos, 6-year-old Eric appears to be erect. The pics were sealed in an envelope with their mother's handwriting on it saying Eric's 6th birthday. According to medical records, there was an unexplained injury to the back of Eric's throat when he was 7 years old. Dr. Carrie English testified that the type of injury was a clear indication of oral copulation in children. When Lyle was 9 years old, he told his cousin Diane Vandermolen that he was afraid his dad was gonna come into his room, and that he and his dad had been touching each other down there. Diane also said that one time Jose put Lyle on a kitchen counter and prompted Lyle to jump off and he was going to catch him. As Lyle did so, Jose backed off and let him fall to the ground, telling him that you can never trust anybody. Their cousin Andy Cano testified that when he was 10 years old, 12-year-old Eric told him that his dad was massaging his D. Eric was trying to find out if these massages were normal and eventually told Andy that these massages are beginning to hurt. Andy ended up dying at age 30 from sleeping pills, and his mother told reporters he died because he couldn't cope with the incarceration of his cousins. After Andy passed away, his mother found a letter that 17-year-old Eric had written to him a few months before the murders. In the letter, Eric mentions the non-stop abuse. Mom isn't doing good. I don't know why she puts up with dad's shit. At times, I wish I could talk to her about things, you know? But the way she worships him and tells him everything, I'm just so afraid she'll tell him whatever I say. I just can't risk it. So I'm stuck here alone. I've been trying to avoid dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. He's so overweight that I just can't stand to see him. I never know when it's going to happen, and it's driving me crazy. Every night I stay up thinking he might come in. I need to put it out of my mind. I know what you said before, but I'm afraid. You just don't know Dad like I do. He's crazy. He's warned me 100 times about telling anyone, especially Lyle. Am I a serious wimpus? I don't know I'll make it through this. I can handle it, Andy. I need to stop thinking about it. 2 more cousins, Kathleen and Alan, spent summers at the Menendez household and said the father would often take the boys to their bedroom and forbid the cousins from going down the hall. The cousins also testified in court that Jose and the boys often showered together, even when they were teenagers. Alan and Kathleen said they could hear cries and moans coming from the bedroom, but Kitty Menendez would turn up the TV volume really high so that they couldn't hear what was happening. At the age of 14, Lyle Menendez wrote a school essay called I Will Change Your Verdict, about a man who's sentenced to death for killing a child molester to protect a 12-year-old boy. Just before writing the essay, Lyle found out for the first time that his father had been molesting 12-year-old Eric. The essay reads, "A man awaits his turn on the electric chair. You, the average citizens of America, put that man there. Now you can taste his death. You hope it hurts and is slow. Do you know what drove him to do it? You never even gave him a chance to talk. He only wanted to say a few things, but no, not you. You couldn't let this thing talk as if he had rights or feelings. You only looked at the evidence, smiled, and yelled guilty. Why, my friend? Why?" At that same age of 14, Lyle began losing his hair, an indication of the stress and psychological turmoil he endured as a child. He also continued playing with stuffed animals and wetting the bed well into his teenage years due to the lasting effects of the abuse. After the murders, the brothers were both evaluated in jail by some of the best child abuse and trauma experts in the country, and they all concluded that both the boys had been severely traumatized, molested, and abused. Dozens of other witnesses, including friends, family members, neighbors, teachers, and coaches, supported these claims throughout the first trial. But despite all this, the first trial ended with 2 deadlocked juries, since all of the men reportedly raised their hands in favor of first-degree murder, while none of the women raised theirs. In the retrial, the judge didn't allow any testimony about the sexual abuse claims, and both brothers were sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Several jurors from the second trial later revealed that they never would have voted in favor of first-degree murder if they had known about the detailed history of their awful abuse.